Hey, we're back again. Me and Joey, the Risky Chicks, are back. We probably should rename Risky Chicks now that you're
official.
Not a chick, right?
To be fair, I was never a chick.
Facts.
The earrings might throw people off, though. So.
But when we first asked you to join the Risky Chicks, you did self-label yourself as the riskiest chick of them all.
I said I'm the risky. I said if this is going to be Risky Chicks, I'm going to be the riskiest
maybe
one that's ever.
Fresh in 2026, we'll have a rebrand.
Yeah, that's fine. I
Okay.
like a good rebrand.
All right, everyone stay tuned for a potential rebrand.
Okay,
but
great.
Anyway, today we're going to talk about winterization. That time of year has kind of already approached.
I hate it so much.
It's so cold. It's getting so dark.
Yep.
The days are shorter. The temps are dropping. There's frost on the grass.
The nights are longer.
Oh,
I am a
hate
night
it.
owl, but I cannot stand leaving my office or leaving our office and just being like, it's 4:30.
It's dark.
It's dark outside.
It's dark. I know. And I feel like after like a long day's work, I like to go home and go on a walk. And now that it's getting so dark, I'm like, I can't even look forward to that anymore.
Yeah, you can catch me on the treadmill at Planet Fitness if you need me.
Even waking up this morning, it's
it was
like
bad. It was bad.
Like even 6:30 in the morning, I go downstairs. I'm like, is it actually 6:30 in the morning or is it 2 in the morning?
It's pretty brutal, and I do want to clarify for our dedicated listeners, we're not depressed, but
no, it's just this time of year always
this
sneaks
time of
up
year
on
is
us
tough.
and it catches us off guard, and it's scary a little
I'm
bit.
a summer body, and I own a lot more T-shirts than I do long shirts.
Already counting down the days to summer.
Yeah. Okay. Summer 26. That's
Yeah.
for next year. But let's talk winterization.
Keeping us motivated. Yes, let's talk winterization. Joey and I are going to go through kind of the most common winter claims we see every season. Starting off strong with frozen pipes.
Yeah, so talking about frozen pipes in general, we're talking about specifically like any expanding ice that's inside of pipes that cause bursts or leaks. This is probably like the number one thing that we hear about.
Yeah.
My parents deal with this probably once every couple of years because we live in an older home in Weymouth. But sometimes these can vary. It doesn't have to be like a full burst explosion. It can really be those like small pinhole leaks over time. Other times, there's a lot of catastrophic flooding when pipes start to thaw. So if you are, somebody that's buying a new home or somebody that just is overdue, frankly, in like checking out their plumbing or your inspection, definitely take a look at the health of your pipes. Some of the quick ways to prevent frozen pipes from occurring: insulating those exposed pipes with insulation, heat tape, something you can buy, frankly, at like Walmart, Ace Hardware.
Easy fix.
Yeah, sealing those cracks and leaks that let in cold air. Open those cabinet doors, allow the warm air to circulate. This is kind of an underrated one, but especially when you have like really nice wood and it's older, or it's a home that, was built in like the 50s or 60s, you might have some of that like old original cabinetry for your pantry. Definitely make sure you are just like letting the warm air in.
That's interesting. Silly. That was a tip I didn't really know about.
Yeah. Think of it the same way as, when there's construction on roads. And so part of the reason that roads start like cracking, freezing, whatnot, is the temperature. It contracts all the cement, it breaks open the cement again in the summer, and when you have a lot of just on and off, like, hey, we're below 32, we're above 32, back-to-back days, that's when most of the cracks, frankly, occur. So a little bit of a dual action there. But think of it the same with your frozen pipes. Definitely let the faucets drip during freezing temperatures. What we mean by that is like quite literally put it on a drip for a little bit, because it also allows the pipe to have enough heat that when it's expanding and freezing, it's not just doing this like quick shock. So that's why sometimes in the winter, some people like to run the cold shower for like maybe 30 seconds before they hop in, just to make sure the water's running totally fine.
Excellent,
This is probably the easiest thing you can do. Throw your thermostat on a cycle. Like, keep it at 55 degrees or even higher, especially when you're away. We'll talk a little bit later about what it means when you have like a cape home or a secondary home.
Right.
And you really need to make sure that it's winterized, so to speak. Snow and ice damage is another big one that, especially with nor'easters, with kind of this time of year, we start seeing these trickle in. But when we're talking snow or ice damage, the risk itself is just heavy snow or ice that can collapse these roofs. They can break branches. They cause ice dams. That's really popular in New England. Something definitely original to New England and not so much to anybody that's listening outside of here.
For sure, yeah.
But do you want to talk about some of the tips to just prevent?
One of the big easy one is to clean out your gutters. Use a roof rake to clear snow after storms. Apply calcium chloride ice melt. So you can put that directly on your roof.
Yeah, you can honestly dump it in there. And again, like, I'm going to keep saying Ace Hardware. This is like stuff you can pick up for
Shout out to Ace Hardware.
Shout out to Ace Hardware. Looking for the sponsorship.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I think it's also important to emphasize, like, if you don't know what you're doing and you don't want to go the Joey method, hire the professional.
Right.
Like, it's probably worth the extra $50 to have somebody, not your cousin Greg, pop out and just kind of start doing stuff.
Especially in New England, getting ready for a snowstorm.
Yeah, and speaking of snowstorms, like talking holidays, house fires are really, really common, especially in the holiday season. We're filming this last week in October. By the time it's out, it's probably nearing Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But think about, like, from a risk perspective, not only are you, like, having drinks and doing fun stuff, like, you got to think about, like, the actual, like, physical hazard risks that isn't, you know, again, your cousin Greg. But the holiday season, we're seeing a spike in fires just from cooking, chimneys, candles, lights, anything of that nature. These always were drilled into my head by my mom when I lived in college. I don't know why she thought that boys had candles, but she was always like, can you please extinguish, like, any of those candles? Make sure the burners are off.
Yeah.
Keep flammables.
The basics.
Yeah, some basic ones, like keep flammables 3 feet away from open flames. Stay in the kitchen when you're roasting and simmering food. Do not try to be a hero and do, like, the weird air fryer turkey thing that I've been seeing. I think is it a deep fried?
Deep fried. My uncle did that one year. Yeah.
Did it explode?
It did not explode.
Good,
thank goodness. We were placing bets on whether it would or not that year. But yeah, it was in my backyard. Just the cauldron air fryer sitting in the backyard.
Anything that's on America's Funniest Home Videos, like, probably avoid. But when we're also talking holidays, like, Christmas is also around the corner. So, like, one thing that my family does is almost immediately after Thanksgiving, we're the first ones to have our lights up in the neighborhood.
I'm so excited for that this year.
It's going to be great. But one thing for you, Abbie, and especially with a baby around, making sure that any of those extra, like, candle lights, those, like, really fancy Christmas ornaments, for any of my Jewish friends, like, make sure the menorah, yes, you can light it, absolutely. Make sure you're doing everything off the religious code, but, like, please make sure it's away from, like, curtains and stuff.
Oh, I know.
Every single year we see something like this.
Inspecting old decorative lights for damage, for sure. Avoid overloading circuits when you're plugging in all of the fancy, fun Christmas decor.
Yes, of course.
And the usual keeping a fire extinguisher handy.
You wouldn't believe.
Another thing to keep in mind is to maybe get your chimney swept.
Oh, that's a good one.
Before starting your first winter fire of the year. I guess I consider myself a new homeowner. We've been in our house for almost 2 years now. And we still have yet to get our chimney swept.
Oh, that's important.
We love having a fire in the wintertime, but we cannot do that until we get our chimney inspected. So, you know, if it's been a long time or maybe you can't remember the last time you got your chimney inspected, maybe consider that.
And make sure the chimney flue is, like, open. Like, that's something the amount of stories I've also heard from, it's just like, oh, you know, Joey, I started a wood fire in my house.
My whole house is
it's like smoking. I don't know why. I'm
yeah.
like, is it open? And they're like, maybe. I'm like, oh, okay, that's pretty important.
Yeah.
Talking about some wind and hail damage just very briefly. Some of the tips to also prevent, so we're switching from fires to, like, more of the outside. Storing, like, that loose outdoor furniture or items. Inspect, maintain that roof condition. That's always something that we're big on harping on. Storm shutters, especially in high-risk areas. So if you're in, like, a high wind, if you're right on the water down the Cape, again, when we talk about winterization of those Cape homes, that's really important. Reinforcing doors and windows. I'm not saying you got to barricade yourself in, but, you know, if you know that there's, like, a leak or something, get that addressed immediately. Throw something under the doormat. Anything that really is just kind of, like, going to prevent, like, you know, water, mold, things of that nature.
Absolutely.
Oh, and trim those tree branches.
Trim the tree branches.
Yeah, the amount of times that we always get, like, a comp claim for an auto where somebody's just like, you know, oh, the branch that I've been talking about for 2 years getting removed actually just crashed my car. I'm like, okay, have fun with your Tesla. But the legal responsibilities in Massachusetts, getting into some of the nitty-gritty. So under Mass General laws, property owners, they are legally required to keep sidewalks and walkways adjacent to their property safe. That includes, like, shoveling snow. That includes, like, melting ice and, like, just taking kind of, like, due diligence. You don't need to be on it 24/7. Ideally, you are.
Right.
But especially when we're talking about those New England winters where it gets a little warm, it freezes, it refreezes, it unfreezes, it refreezes again. That's when black ice and stuff like that can really occur super commonly.
Yep. And you can kind of knock out 2 birds with 1 stone when you are applying your ice melt to your roof, your gutters. Absolutely. You can also apply it to your sidewalk.
Yeah,
and your walkway.
Again, make it like a little 2-hour trip to Home Depot or Ace Hardware, whatever you want.
Ace Hardware, shout out again.
Do you want to touch upon kind of, like, I know that you own a home. would you and your husband eventually want a seasonal home? Like,
of course.
Yeah.
We'd love to get one of those little Cape houses,
cool.
right?
Yeah, do you have any family down there?
Yeah, my grandparents used to live on the Cape.
Oh, sweet. Cool.
When they passed, we sadly sold that house.
Yeah.
But no, I love going to the Cape. We'd love to have a Cape house one day.
Yeah.
Amazing. But yeah, so for those of you out there that do have their Cape house or, any other secondary home, you are probably thinking of winterizing it and closing it up for the season. So let's talk about winterizing our second homes.
Yeah, so like Abbie just said, many New Englanders, typical summer homes, vacation properties, these bring joy in the warmer months, but they can really become high risk if they're not properly closed. So we're talking winterized versus unwinterized. Mm-hmm. With winterized houses, we're talking, plumbing system, it's fully drained. The home's prepared for no heat during freezing temps. We're always assuming the worst with this. Versus like an unwinterized home, systems are left on. That usually requires extra vigilance to prevent freezing. Mm-hmm. Most people rely on a neighbor. There are also services that you can look up where somebody can drop by the home.
Yeah.
I always say like...
to help make sure the house is still,
Yeah, very typical where it's like, hey, I'm going away for the week. Can you...
house sit a little bit,
Can you house sit? Somebody doesn't necessarily have to stay over, but it's nice to know that something's
check in for sure.
Yeah. So some of the key steps that I'll just touch upon for winterizing your home, we're talking plumbing, appliances, and power, any gas and utilities. So for plumbing specifically, definitely shut off that main water supply if you're not going to be there for a few months. Draining those faucets, outdoor spigots, any of the toilets, draining the fridge, the ice maker, the water lines, drain everything. You should also consider really kind of like an RV style antifreeze in those drains. Part of the reason is that it really just kind of clears the entire system, and it's a really healthy thing to do probably once a year anyways.
Interesting.
Yeah. For appliances and power, some really kind of non-starters for me is just unplug those appliances that are not going to be in use. If nobody's going to be in the house for 3 months, you don't need your 72-inch TV plugged in. You're going to be fine. Definitely empty the fridge. You wouldn't believe how many times we get a claim about bears outside, digging through the trash that didn't get taken out.
Right.
Any rats, things like that. You don't have to cut all the power either. You can leave on those essential systems. So we're talking the alarm system, lighting, heating if it's needed.
Makes sense.
Yeah, food and pests, remove those pantry items, gas and utilities. Consider shutting off that gas just to reduce the fire risk. And then security, if you're talking about paying bills, anything like that, talk about redirecting that mail. Stop any newspaper deliveries. That's kind of also when you have those open claims for secondary homes where somebody slips and falls on your property. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you're not there. There's no reason to have the mail get delivered there, especially
have a mountain of news.
Yeah, I'd rather come back to a mountain of it than a $2 million lawsuit.
Right.
Not that they could even sue me for $2 million, but
no, but that's a good point.
Yeah. So insurance for secondary homes. The secondary homes, they're really higher risk to insurers because if you think about it, unoccupied, it's going to be slower responses times to damage. That's always, it's great to have a good neighbor down there.
Yep.
And then the premiums may be slightly higher, but there's always discounts that you can make available with centrally monitored devices. Water shutoff devices are wildly popular now. So do you guys have one in your home actually?
No, but I've heard about these.
Yeah, tell me what you know about them because I can always kind of
I don't know if this is the exact same, but I think it's kind of under the same category. You can put this small device behind your toilet or something, and it can detect if there's any water leaking or flooding, and it will once it senses the water, it can automatically shut off your water for you.
You're exactly right. It sounds super self-explanatory, and it doesn't always even need to be behind the toilet. You can always just put it directly next to the main water supply.
Yep.
It's amazing how far the tech's going, and especially as you're taking a look at winterizing your home. One thing that we've noticed, I do a ton of new business, I do a ton of higher net worth carriers. So folks that have secondary, tertiary homes, right now they're being required a lot down the Cape. My guess, and this is probably a risky chick prediction, but maybe in 2026, 27, we're probably looking at most homes just in general, primary, secondary, any level, not just high net worth middle market, just requiring these.
It's one thing if you have a second home that you're not at for most of the year, but then it's one thing if you are at your main house and you're at work for 8 hours of the day.
Yeah, totally.
What could happen in those 8 hours?
Yeah, and again, that's something that's shifted, and we've even just seen some carriers in the last couple of months hey, winter season's actually around the corner. We're actually going to start requiring these anyways, so you might as well get them now.
Yeah, I think that's a great risk management tip. 100%.
Yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit about emergency preparedness? I know obviously Nick our parents. So like, I want to hear like, do you guys create a winter kit? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, now that we have a little one that we're responsible for keeping
outside of like
alive.
baby proofing everything.
Yeah, I think as winter approaches, you want to keep your flashlights, blankets, batteries, bottled water. I think emphasis on the batteries, especially speaking of just having a little kid, you have a lot of toys and batteries, right? So like that's a whole separate situation. But for sure, we're approaching the time where nor'easters are hitting. We could possibly lose power. So, it's best to just be prepared for that to give our child, a less scary experience with that. Yeah. Backup heating sources, generators, stoves, and keeping claims contact handy. Is that right?
Keeping agent claims? Yeah. So just knowing that, like, in the event of a claim, just know, like, who you should reach out to. Like, oh, crap, I did forget.
Right, like, if just, foreshadow that. God forbid something were to happen, it's important, I think, for everyone to kind of know what the next steps are to take.
Absolutely. And, again, there's always, like, that, like, horror story of, like, oh, it was Thanksgiving weekend and we were living by candlelight, anything like that. Like, now's the time to go buy your generator before everybody's flocking to stores again.
Right. Get ahead of the game.
Yeah, so I think just as we wrap up, like some of the big takeaways, frozen pipe prevention, snow and ice management, some of that liability and legal obligations. Make sure that you're always prepping your home. It could be your primary, it could be your temporary, your seasonal, your apartment. Doesn't matter. Yeah. Always good to have a winterization plan in case.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, if you're ever interested and you just want to learn more, you can also reach out to us directly. We'll drop our emails in the link in bio or whatever that looks like. And I just want to say, like, I hope everybody's enjoying the hot cocoa, some of that family time as we're getting around the holiday season. And yeah, stay safe out there. It's going to get cold real soon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Joey.
All right. Thanks, guys.